The government will not do it because the large population, the army of civil servants that are extremely very corrupt will have to be taken care of. And they have to pay them salaries. They have to take allowances. They have to go abroad for medical distance. How can somebody in the Ministry of Health go abroad for medical checkup? I mean, it's just an irony of our situation. If you are the minister in the Ministry of Health and your daughter is sick and you are flying her or him abroad, then what do you gain? It means that the system you are running, you know it has failed. Such a minister should not last the next 2 hours. But nobody is bothering about that. The president is given that opportunity anywhere in the world to go abroad to seek several medical checkups, this and that, for political reasons.
But how can the president be going on checkups?
Clinton went out of America to UK for such.
Madiba did not go anywhere.
Where does Madiba? Because he believed in the system he was running. Here, up to today, nobody has unraveled the death of MKO and Abacha to us. So our people will feel somehow that maybe we are very corrupt as a nation and people. And so we believe that our head could also be corrupted. But I will not imagine a minister who is the head of a ministry, managing the ministry, appointing the medical directors, going abroad to go and seek medical checkup, when the people he appoints are his stooges. They are his people. Nobody will appoint them for him. So we have a problem now. The major reason why the recruitment pressure is increasing is corruption. There is no other reason.
Let's ask Mr. Galtima Liman. Let's go back again to 2013. The budget 2013. Before we begin to talk about what would happen to 2014 and whether it will be passed or not, how do you think the 2013 budget fared?
Well, the Honourable Minister has rightly told you that it was difficult for them to implement the 2013 budget. Budgets are nothing but expectations. I'm expecting to have, as a nation, this amount of income in 2013. Now, so when you have armed robbery and piracy and the pipeline vandalization taking about a third of the annual income, which you didn't actually anticipate, that is going to affect a third of the budget of 2013, and that's precisely what had happened. If you also had budgeted, and because of corruption, there was a huge leakage from that system, invariably also that is going to affect the budget process. If you go ahead and also have a budget process and you have the insecurity in the northeastern that brought about this emergency rule that made them to spend on bullets instead of butter, for instance, that is going to affect your budget. But the question that you also asked him about whether or not agri was going to create impact positively on that, it's been realized that it absorbs about 40 to 60% of the labor if you get your agri sector working. And also it has domino effect, ripple effects in terms of creating inputs for the manufacturing sector. And if you have a very good export policy, you begin to now think in terms of how this is going to generate foreign exchange and employment and all that. Basically, as I've said earlier on, as economists, we are more interested in the strategic plan of the nation, 5 years plan. Politicians are not given to long gestation programs because they need to be seen to have done something here and now. The power sector itself requires long gestation projects because most of them are gas fed. You need to have pipeline system. You need to also feed from the supply source, that is from where you're producing your crude oil. Those gas are what you use in Egrim station and things like that. And so you start a project today as Jonathan Goodluck, 3 or 4 years down the line might not be enough for you to see the fruition. And that's why his argument is that, look, the second term is always being spent unnecessarily on trying to convince people that I need to come back and explain what I want to do. So why don't I have one single 6-year term, hoping that that 6-year term can begin to provide, dividends of democracy and so that you don't have politicians more interested in having the recurrent expenditure with all the kind of cycle funds. So the short answer, it's basically what you decide on the political arena invariably also affects your economic calculations. If your political arena is very expensive, as we have right now, which is a presidential system, that has just a four-year window. So in the 4-year window, your income is so short, and you haven't even had any strategic plan. So whatever money that you come, you begin to share, and sharing has never brought development in the country.
So, if in summation of all of what you've said,
yes,
would you say 2013 budget has been 60% done, implemented 60 or 40% or 50%? Would you say that if you were to score that budget in terms of its implementation and effectiveness?
Unfortunately, as I said, I'm not so excited about the budget, the annual budget as it is, because it does not represent the aggregate strategic picture. You understand? Now, if you have, I just gave you an analogy. You have a household income that is to be run on 250,000 naira per annum, and your income is just 50,000 naira per annum. Yeah, it's a lot of shortfall. So I wouldn't be interested in whether that 50,000 had actually addressed whether we've been able to spend 30,000 naira, because still we have huge shortfall. So by looking at the trend itself as a strategic planner, I'm looking at the trend in 2014, and the trend is still the same fuel subsidy, fuel importation, fuel product importation. And so long as you are importing aviation fuel, for instance, if you today you said, okay, my budget is 2.3 million barrels of oil per day at $100 US, that's what I expect to have. And then you now have the cost of the oil production and all that. And you end up importing aviation fuel, kerosene, petrol that is 5 times more expensive. Hey, are you getting it? 5 times more expensive than what you are earning. So for each export that you're making, you are 5 times less in terms of income. So you are in a deficit right from the word go. I will be more interested in seeing a budget that will tell me that yes, the Dangote refinery, for instance, is going to come about 10 more refineries are going to come there. And those 10 more refineries, like in the parable of talent, are going to add value to this. Instead of having 30 billion US dollars in an annum, we're expecting to have about 90 billion US dollars. And that 90 billion US dollars is going to be, yes, first of all, you need to increase the pie. We're not increasing the pie. I'm not seeing any component, any scientific component that is talking about pie increase.
So you do not want to give a scorecard to the Ministry of Finance?
The scorecard, invariably, I've already said it. Yes. The scorecard, the budget was affected by those indices that I had mentioned. The indices of the insecurity that has made them to rechannel some of the income, for arms and ammunition, the stealing of the pipeline vandalization, and because that took about a third of the wealth that was expected for that year. So invariably, you are talking about something close to about 60%, 70% budget implementation. That's just precisely what it is.
What's your own thought, Mr. Ananuga, in terms of scorecard for 2013?
Well, I agree with you.
You will agree that it's about 60%.
Now, I'll give the government between 70 and 80%. Because if you look at the environmental scanning position, all those things as mentioned, Boko Haram, oil theft, and also, though all those things are being done by the same government, I will tell you, because oil theft, Jonathan is from Bayelsa. Right from the day he was born, from the time he was in River State, to the time he got married, to the time he became lecturer, he knew everything about oil and the thefts. So he cannot come now to come and tell Nigerians that there are oil theft. No, he knew about it from day one.
Those are strong allegations.
No, they are not strong allegations. You can't live in Port Harcourt as a lecturer and not know about